Hey guys, today I'll be showing you how to make this stylish two-piece. It is very easy to make. Just follow the steps and you'll be able to make yours. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria. If today is your first time of coming across this channel, you're welcome. Kindly subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notification bell button and to get notified each time I post a new video. So let's dive right into the tutorial. So firstly, I'll be marking half an inch at the top of my pattern paper. That will serve as our starting line. I've gone ahead to mark that as S, which is our shoulder line. So on this line, I'm going to impute half of my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. I'm going to go ahead and mark 1 inch at that point, and then I'll mark my neck width. I'm using 3 inches for this. So I'll go ahead and mark that into a straight line to form my shoulder slope. So from there, I'm going to mark my armhole. So for my armhole, I'm using 8 inches for my armhole. So I'll just go ahead and mark that into a straight line to be that will serve as the chest line. So I'm just marking this half of my shoulder line so that I can draw that into an accurate straight line. So from there now, I'm going to go ahead and mark my bust point, which is 10 inches. Then I'll go ahead and mark my under bust, which is 13 inches. I'll mark that. Then I'll go ahead and mark my waist, 16.5, and the full length of the blouse, I'm going to be using 26 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark all these points into a straight line. The bust point, waist line, my under bust, waistline, and the full length. So now I'm going to get the midpoint of the armhole. Alright, so I'll divide what I have there into 2. Then at that point, I'll go in by half an inch. Okay, and then to be able to mark the armhole, I'm going to just impute my bust measurement. So I'll mark these lines. I'll connect the 3 lines together to form my armhole curve. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert my dart line. My dart line is 4 inches. So I'm just going ahead to label my lines: the chest line, bust point, under bust, waistline, and the full length. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and insert my dart on the under bust, the waistline, and the full length as well. 4 inches. You can make use of whatever your own is. Okay, so I'll go ahead and draw that into a straight line. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and insert my darts. So I'm going to be starting with the under bust. I'm going to take 1.5 inch on both sides of the leg. I'm going to be taking 3/4 of an inch on the waistline. So 3/4 of an inch on both sides of the dart leg. Alright, so I'm going to take that same 3/4 of an inch at the full length. So 3/4 of an inch on both sides as well. So I'll draw that into a straight line to the full length on both sides. Then we'll go ahead and draw into the under bust, and then you use the curvy side of the ruler to just curve it into the bust point. All right, so in order to get the princess curve, all right, so we're going to go ahead and measure what we have on the armhole. Just measure what you have on that armhole. Just curve it and measure what you have. All right, so we're going to divide that into two, whatever that point is. So we're going to come down by 1 inch from that point. Just come down by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch that you came down, just go up at that point, go up by 1 inch as well. So this is to avoid any shortage when joining your armhole. So I'm just drawing that 1 inch line as well up. Okay. So at this point now, I'm going to add half an inch to my armhole curve. And at that point, you now draw your new armhole from that point. Yeah, you just draw in your new armhole. So when you want to cut, you just watch and see how I'm going to cut it. All right, so now I'm going to impute my full body measurement. I'm just measuring what I have at that chest line. I put that on my bust point as well. So on my waistline, I measure what I have, and I added in the that I'm going to be taking away. That's 1.5. I added it back. So on this point, the full length, my hip is 10 inches. So I marked the 10 inches, okay, but at this point I forgot to pull back the dart that I took out. So I'm going to show you how I'll correct this later, because if you notice here, I didn't put back the dart I took out. So that was an oversight on my part, but I'm going to insert it when I'm cutting my fabric, because I discovered later when I was cutting my fabric. So I'll put it back. I'll show you how I did it. So just watch. So right now I just went ahead to put my allowance, which is 1.5. So on both my busts I put 1.5, my waist 1.5, and on the full length 1.5. Right, so I'm just drawing that into a straight line. Okay, so right now at the side, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inch, just to give our blouse a bit of a curve. It doesn't just look straight, so it will have a bit of a curve. So you just draw that into the dart leg, and then we'll go ahead and work on the neckline. So for my neck depth, I'm going to be using 3 inches. So I'll just go ahead and connect my neck width and my neck depth together like so. Right, so basically we are almost done with this front pattern. So for our blouse, both the front and the back are not the same. So for me, mine is 1 inch difference. So I'm going to be taking off that 1 inch difference from the bust. So I will use a bust dart to take off that 1 inch. Okay, that's what I've just done. So you just come down by 1 inch and then connect it back into your bust point. Okay. So because of the nature of the style we are working on, we are using our full paper so that we can draw both the two sides, because one side is going to be having an opening. Okay, so right now I'm just going ahead to cut out my pattern. All right, so we're cutting out our front pattern. So cut out the slope, then we'll go ahead and cut out the neck. All right, so now to take in my bust that or fold it in. So because we're folding in, you know, this pattern is folded into two, so I'm going to make sure I get both the front and the back together. So in order to do that, I'll slash my dart leg, then so that I can be able to fold that bust that in. I'm just trying to make sure that I get both the other side that is under, that's the pattern that is under as well. So I'm just making sure that I get the two together. So yeah, so I use my marking tape to tape that down. So I go ahead and finish cutting to make sure there is no any shortage of the side. All right, I'll just go ahead and finish cutting. So we're almost done with the front. Okay, so like I said, we had to use the full paper because of the design. So we'll go ahead and set aside the other side and just work on the side that has the design. Okay, so what we'll do now is to go ahead and tape this pattern together at the waist. If you watch what I'm doing, I'll make sure that the waist are touching, the waistline of the both pattern are touching. Right, so I'll just use a masking tape to just tape it down so that it will not move. Okay, so now if you watch from the thumbnail, you see that there's a curve at that down part. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and use my curve ruler to curve it from that point. Okay, I'm just going to draw a straight curve line. You just make sure that it passes the center. Okay, that line passes the center a little bit. Okay, so just watch what I'm doing. Curve it down. So you go to the other side as well. So at that other side, you just leave half an inch at that side. Okay, just before the allowance, you just leave half an inch, then you curve it in. All right, you just leave half an inch before the allowance, and then you just cut it out, and voila, we have our design at the front. So it's as simple. Like I said, it's very easy to make. Just follow what I'm doing and it will be easy. It will not be difficult for you to make at all. Okay, so we're basically done with the front pattern. So for the back pattern, we're going to measure 1.5 inch for the zip allowance. So from the top to the full length of the dress, I'm just measuring my paper to see if it's going to be okay for my full length. So for the back, we're going to be using 25 inches for the full length because it's half inch. It is 1 inch, sorry. It is 1 inch lesser than the front. Okay, so I'm just going ahead to impute my half an inch for the starting line. So I'll draw that into a straight line, and then we can start measuring. So please, when you're measuring, please you start from after the zipper. Okay, after the zipper line, that's where you start measuring, taking your measurements from. All right, so don't make any mistake. So I'm putting half of my shoulder. I'll come down by 1 inch. I'm going to impute my 3 inches for neck width, and I'll draw my shoulder slope. So from there I'll come down by 8 inches like I did for the front. So I'm just imputing my shoulder, half of my shoulder as well, to get that into a straight line. Okay, so then I'll draw my line to form my chest line. Okay, so I'm also marking my bust point. That's just to be able to guide us to draw our dart. Okay, and then I'll measure the full length of the blouse. Okay, so I'll draw that, and then I measure my waistline, draw that into a full line, and then also the full blouse. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder into half, then I'll impute my bust measurements. So I'll draw that into my armhole curve. From that, just watch what I'm doing. I'll mark that into an armhole curve, and then we'll go ahead and impute our darts as well, 4 inches darts. Okay, into all the lines. Then I'll draw that into a straight line. So on the waistline, I'm going to go in by 1/4 of an inch as well on both dark legs, 1/4 of an inch. I'll do the same thing to the full length as well, 1/4 of an inch on both dark legs. Then I'll draw that straight into the bust point. So I'll go ahead and also measure my armhole and get the half of my armhole as well, so I can draw a princess dart. So this one I'll just go ahead and mark it straight. Just go ahead and mark it into the dart leg, and I'm just covering to make sure there's no sharp edge. So I'll go ahead and impute my bust measurement, my waist measurement, putting back the dart that I took. I'll do the same thing to the full length. So I'll measure my hip and I will replace the dart that I took, which is 1.5 inch. So I'll go ahead and connect the lines together. Okay, so after that I'll now go ahead and insert my 1.5 inch allowance, the full length, the half, the waistline, and the bust. So I'll go ahead and still connect these lines together. So I'll come up by 1.5 inch just like I did for the front, and I'll connect that into the dark leg. I'll just connect that with my curve ruler, and then we're almost done with this. So I'm going to come down for the neck. I'll be using 1 inch at the back, so I'll connect that into the neck width. I'll just connect that, okay, like so. So I'll just go ahead and add 1/2 inch at this point, just so that I don't have any shortage when I'm joining my armhole. All right, so I'll just curve that back into the armhole, and yeah, we're almost done. So I'll go ahead and contour my zip so that we don't have any zip bulge at that back. So I'll just take in 1/2 inch and I'll curve that into the full length, and then go ahead, mark that out, and then curve that into the neckline as well, so that to eliminate any zip bulge at the back, that our zip can sit well. All right, so we're almost done. We'll just go ahead and cut this out. So we're practically done with the back pattern, right? So we'll go ahead and then just draft the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I'm measuring my full sleeve. Mine is 24 inches, so the paper is up to 24 inches. I'm measuring my armhole, which is 8 inches, just like we used for the armhole, 8 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 4 inches for my sleeve cap. So I mark that into a straight line. Then so I measured my elbow length, so I inserted that, and then I go ahead and I mark that into a straight line. The sleeve cap area, mark it into a straight line. I'm going to go ahead and measure what I have there, divide it into 2. I'll go up by half an inch, and that's a half inch. So I'll just I'll place my ruler to meet the half of an inch into the full length. So to get the front armhole, you just curve that into like an inverted X. Then at that point, so at that half point, you just put, that's what I'm doing. I think if you watch it closely, you'll be able to understand. It's just like an inverted X at that point. Okay, so I'm measuring what I have at my wrist. I'm measuring what I have at my wrist. Half of that I inserted it. I also measure what I have at my elbow area, and I'm inserted half of an inch of that. I just curve that into a straight line, and then yeah, we're basically done with this sleeve drafting. Okay, so I'm marking that as the B is the back, the F is the front. So just go ahead and cut that. I did not put any allowance for the sleeve. When I'm cutting on my fabric, I'm going to put my allowance. All right, so we're done with the pattern drafting. This is all our pattern all together. So this video is just for drafting. So if at this point you haven't liked this video, go ahead and do so, and leave a comment for me in the comment section, and kindly subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.